Hey there, this is Perch, and this is a review of Avengers Endgame. It's filled with spoilers, so spoilers, 8,000 times spoilers. We're gonna go right into the movie and all the way to the end and every aspect about it. So if you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to be spoiled. You're getting spoilers here, so this is not the review for you if you don't want to hear spoilers. So hopefully, okay, you've clicked away by now with any luck. So this movie, I think, is so I'm going to get a little personal a little bit. I said in a tweet that this review will be. I definitely had some emotion in the movie, so some of that will come across in this review, um, but not for the reasons, not because they played the sad music and did the tear jerking moment that was designed to create emotion. The emotion is coming from a different place, and I'll explain kind of where we go, why, kind of two reasons. But first off, I think if you're going to this movie, and your question is, will I like this movie? Well, the first question I would ask you back is, have you liked the movies to date? Did you like Infinity War? Did you like Civil War? Did you like Winter Soldier? If you like those movies, you will like this movie. Pretty confident you will like this movie. Is some people worried that Captain Marvel comes in and spoils it? No, Captain Marvel doesn't come in and spoil it. Captain Marvel is in very little of the movie. Um, is handled very, very strangely in a lot of ways. She feels inserted into the film. She doesn't feel it doesn't make a lot of sense the more you think about her in this movie, particularly with the setup of like Nick Fury uses the pager to call her. She's super strong, touted as the most powerful of them all. And right at the beginning of the movie, we see a little bit about how powerful she is. Um, Rescuing Iron Man, kind of getting to space, a lot of cockiness. It's funny, a lot of people kind of complain about she's cocky, and then the other side is, well, why shouldn't she be cocky? What, a woman can't be cocky? And I look at it this way: I didn't like the Tom Cruise cocky character back in his career. I've never liked cocky Tom Cruise or cocky Keanu Reeves. I don't like cocky characters, male or female. They always seem like jerks to me. So, cocky attitude is cocky attitude. Doesn't really matter what gender's using it. They seem annoying, but there's not much of it. You're not going to get a lot of Captain Marvel in this film, which is almost part of the problem, because by introducing her and showing her in the movie, the most annoying part of Captain Marvel is the fact that she is super powerful. She can do a lot of things, but is just mysteriously absent for the make or break, most important thing in the world kind of moment. There's her introduction causes you to think about the movie in a, wait, why are they doing this again? This makes no sense, which is not what you want in the movie. Um, Other than that, standout performances. Ant-Man just continues to be wonderful as a performance, and you're just hoping, you wind up hoping for an Ant-Man 3. You want to see more of him on screen. Rocket Raccoon does very well. A lot of people complaining about Thor's arc. Thor basically racked with guilt, and the fact that he couldn't save anyone has turned into kind of a slobby fat drunk. And Then there's a little bit of redemption for him, of him kind of finding his way again, ultimately hooking up with the Guardians of the Galaxy at the end. Which, if he's going to be in the third movie, that's probably a good move. It seems like Guardians of the Galaxy is now set, of the search for Gamora, a Gamora from past time. Um, there are a lot of so I mean, here's okay. So first thing out the gate is what one thing that is emotional for me about this film. I'll cop to the more cliche one first. So, as a father with daughter, it is tough for me to watch scenes. I knew Tony Stark was going to die going into the film, and I'm ashamed to admit they got me. But they got me, of having these scenes of fatherhood and trying to connect with your daughter. And as somebody who, at various times in my life, have wondered if I'm going to make it, wondered what kind of legacy I'm going to leave my children, wondered if I'm doing the best job as a father, if I'm spending enough time, all these questions that you go through, and for me, seeing the daughter age and feeling like I should be there more. I'm missing it. I think any person, well, I don't know any person, but people who work a lot and have a job and do all that, and they see their children growing, and they feel like, this is time we won't get back. So that those scenes are powerful in any movie. They're powerful for me, and they play off well here. You get Tony Stark, a man who's consumed with thinking through problems and his commitments and his drive and trying to learn how to be a father and trying to act it before you feel it, and then just do your best. And so those moments are powerful from the beginning and at the end with the funeral. And no matter how you cut it, his daughter now grows up without a father, even though he did something heroic. There's something tragic about that. So it's not like I'm sitting in the theater bawling. No tears were spilled, but they got me. They do that. The Russo brothers do that moment very, very well. Fatherhood, which is I haven't seen any reviews talk about that, but there's a powerful message about fatherhood and what it means to have a relationship with your children that I think is was done very well. The other moment, though, that is emotional, I think. So let me back up. So in terms of the movie, you have a first act, kind of a very short first act of the Avengers going to avenge finding Thanos. He's destroyed the gym, so their plan to get to reclaim, to fix things is blown, and they murder him, but they're lost now. So 5 years later, they're still not being able to move on, and in comes Ant-Man, and he's got the quantum realm. The quantum realm can conceivably do time travel, and then we get a bunch of Back to the Future jokes, and we reassemble the team. We're going to go back in time. We're going to reassemble the gyms to get an Infinity Gauntlet of their own that they can use to bring everybody back. The hiccup in the plan is that Nebula, because there's cybernetic pieces to her, when she goes back in time, her past time self becomes aware of the time traveler self. That allows Thanos to capture her, get a hold of some of the Pym particles, although it's very unclear why he's suddenly able to pull an entire ship through it, and then attack the Avengers and have a second go at the Infinity Gauntlet via that way. And it's an interesting kind of spin on time travel. The challenge is, like all time travel movies, you always wonder, we're going to go back in time to certain moments, and we're going to get these stones, these gems, and we're going to pick very precise moments just at the right times to grab this stuff, and leave ourselves very little margin for error in the process, which is frustrating because you've got time travel and go to any time. You don't have to go to a dangerous time to grab this stuff, but they choose really awkward, strange times to do this. And this is even kind of reinforced and underlined when the folks that go to New York, namely Tony and Steve, who get a nice little moment, just the two of them, which was well done. They're like, oh well, we screwed up this attempt to get the stones. Let's go further back in time and just grab it when it's super easy, when we can just kind of break into the army base and grab the stuff and go. And they kind of they dance around with well, we can't talk to our current selves, we can't really interfere with things, but then they go back and they interfere with stuff all over the place. So it begs the question, if you're saving infinity people, because this was the Thanos snap went across the galaxy, not just Earth, so you're talking you know I don't know, more than trillions. So petabytes. You're talking a lot of people, living creatures everywhere. I mean, you're talking an infinite amount of creatures. And so why not, if you can't mess up the time stream, then great. Grab the Hulkbuster armor, take Iron Man, go back to the 70s and just, blow up the army base, grab it and run. It doesn't matter. You're not impacting time in that way. So it just, the more you think about it, the more the whole time travel thing seems kind of goofy. But anyway, they bring the stones back. Thanos kind of piggybacks on. They have a big fight, and they finish off Thanos once and for all, but it costs Tony Stark's life in doing so. And then you get the reunion, and just about everybody's come back. But Black Widow had to sacrifice herself to get the Soul Stone, and there's where, so the goods and the bads. The goods, and this is the other kind of emotional part for me. It's very hard, and I'll be curious if anyone else has this reaction. It's very hard for me to see moments that there are a lot of very clever nods to comics. Cap picking up Thor's hammer for the first time and wielding it. The Cap saying "Hail Hydra" in a kind of very smart, very funny, clever scene. Cap being bright, Cap, and watching these moments get done so much better than the comics. And the one that got me the most was we get at the very end of the film, we find that Steve did not, um, he's supposed to go back, return the gems, come back quickly, and instead he stays in the past and proposes to Peggy Carter and marries her and has a life. And then he shows up in the present, old. He basically just resumes, and he then passes the shield to Sam and says, "It's your turn to be Captain America now." And you're looking at this stuff and you're like, God damn it. How is this movie doing these scenes better than the comics? The comics that have, hundreds and thousands of issues and creative freedom to do anything, no special effects budgets. They can draw whatever they want on the page. They've got all this time to lead up and build these moments. And this movie is kicking their butt in portraying these moments better than the comics. That's, I said, it's emotional. It's tragic to me. It should not be. It's so frustrating to see it go down this way. And I'm very impressed with the Russo brothers. Did a great job. But if you're a comic writer and you're watching some of this, if nothing is going to underline a bit of your career, some of them, it's you're underlining their career as these guys came in to make a movie and did it way better than you did. They're not dedicated to comics full time. They're not. This isn't their profession, day in and day out, that they're producing comics. This is why they're in the big leagues and you are not. And it's just, that's a weird take, I know, but man, it's hard to watch that stuff go down. I mean, including kind of how they're even navigating Captain Marvel. I said I don't like her I don't like the cocky character, but still, reinforcing that she's powerful and can do things. How is the movie getting this better in basically 3 to 4 minutes of screen time than dozens and dozens of comics? We've relaunched Captain Marvel how many times now, and they're still not able to get across that she's a powerful, confident character in a good way. But the movie does it in 2 minutes. I mean, Jesus, come on. How are they? You're slapping your head in some cases. So that's the movie gets a lot of those moments really right. Captain America saying "Hail Hydra" as a way to kind of trick the Hydra guy into giving him the briefcase was clever writing. I think the dynamic with Rocket and a lot of stuff was done was clever writing. As I said, Scott Lang did a good job. There's a lot of good, solid moments. The relationship between Gamora and Nebula and kind of how that got played up again was smart. The poor Clint Barton Hawkeye thread is well done. There's a lot of well done pieces, but it is tough, so tough to watch some of this stuff just get done so much better. What gets done wrong? Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like I've kind of been talking through this review, there's a lot of, if you sit down and kind of think about it, you're like, well, WTF, why didn't we just, like going to the planet, why is it escaping my head right now? You're grabbing one of the Infinity Stones, the one that Peter Quill got, and they like, well, we're just going to kind of time travel right before and then kind of follow him in to grab the stone. Why? When Nebula is grabbed by Thanos and kind of she's spasming out and then she's jerked back into the ship, why not quickly hit that hand and travel back in time? There's lots of little moments where you're like, you could have saved all kinds of shenanigans and BS by just, not by just not. So I think there's just some goofiness. I think the Hulk character, interesting, but they're enjoying playing with that. The one problem the comics or the movie suffers a little bit is that it is jokey. It's jokey in a better way than the Joss Whedon films, but there is still kind of a jokey behavior where sometimes it's not totally appropriate or doesn't completely work. The Russo brothers by far cement that they're better at this than Joss Whedon and others. I mean, they know how to do an epic comic movie, and they're at the top of their game. You may not like the Marvel Universe, and that's fine, There's plenty of people who don't, who think these movies are trash, kind of popcorn films, and buy the book. And in some cases, there's legitimate criticism there, but you can't argue with billions of dollars and being able to pull in an audience. And it's you don't have to like every song, but you can respect that the song that is being played that you don't like was at least produced well, and this film was produced quite well. The other thing that is kind of stupid that I know some people are going to talk about is um, there. This is a trap I think Hollywood gets into a lot, and it's where you have you want to have a scene where all the female superheroes are in one shot together and they're ready to kick some ass, and that's fine. They get the shot of them on the hill, kind of as the battle's raging, and they're like, "Yeah, let's go." And then you perceive, but it's very inorganic. You have the characters all over the place. You have you know, keep away from, with the glove that was kind of stupid. I hate those movies where it's like, hey, let's try and keep this super all powerful thing away, away from everyone else. Let's not call Doctor Strange or Wong or any of the magicians we have here and just open up a portal to, some place on the other side of the planet, and just hang out there until we get the van working so we can send the stones back. No, let's throw it around the battlefield randomly. There's just you can't help but when you get these movies and there's some strategy going on, think you guys aren't very smart. Like none of you are very very bright in terms of this strategy you're putting out. Feels like there's a bunch of really super genius people and you do super dumb things in terms of strategy. You've got teleportation, you've got space travel, you've got, and this is, I think, as I mentioned, but at the beginning, one of the dumbest things in the film is, the battle's very evenly matched, and this giant ship is just blasting the hell out of everything, and it looks bad, and in comes Captain Marvel, and she just uses her super amazing abilities to just fly a hole through the ship and just blow it the hell up. And then she gets on the ground. It's like, all right, ladies, let's go fight. This is this all-female kind of fight moment. Which again made no sense because the women were all scattered having their battles and doing a good job. They had just finished up a scene with the Scarlet Witch looking pretty badass against Thanos. And then we're going to suddenly she's somewhere else on the battlefield and all the women have assembled in one place for no apparent reason, and they're going to try and run the gauntlet to the van. They're like, all right, I think we can do this. It's like, I know you can do this. Captain Marvel just flew through a ship. She straight up murdered like 1,000 aliens on that ship, and with ease. She's not like, she doesn't even look dirty. She's like, her hair is still in place. And you're going, I'm pretty sure you can fly it across the battlefield. You could just fly it over there, or again, teleport over there, or any number of things. But it's like, all right, let's go do it. And then they proceed to just not accomplish that mission at all. And Tony Stark, so it's funny. They want to set up a scene of this is the female superheroes and future, and that's cool. I think I was really glad to see the Wasp there. It's like, this is one of the best female superheroes you have. It's a shame you killed off Nat. You could have had her there too, but good for you. You have her there. But then they don't let any of those heroes really have the heroic moment. Captain Marvel is pretty much, flies over and gets punched down. And then, unfortunately, the boys have to pick up the gauntlet and save the day. And so why did you set up that moment when you were going to then revert to the boys saving the day? Why not have one of the women save the day? Really save the day, not just have a photo seriously, have one of the women save the day. Do it. I want you to do it. Some of the scenes with Ant-Man, why not have the Wasp, do a couple of those moments? Why not have the Wasp get giant and crush a couple things? She's there. Go for it. I think it's weird to me. It feels like the movie tries to insert these moments of like, look, here's all the female superheroes. Look, this is awesome. Here's the diversity. This is awesome. But then they don't really want to make that movie. They want to make the old traditional movie with the three white dudes. So, they make the movie with three white dudes, and it was like, okay, now let's insert a couple films of the women looking awesome, but they don't really do anything. Like, Captain Marvel, again, very confusing. In the beginning of the movie, Captain Marvel is blasting the living hell out of Thanos, and granted, he was weakened because he had destroyed the stones and everything else. But then she shows up at the end, which also doesn't make any sense. If she was available and they're going to do this superheroic plan, why not give her a call? I mean, she said, you may not hear from me for a while, but why not send out a little distress beacon like, hey, we actually figure a way to turn back time and save, trillions and squared of people. Maybe you should give her a call again. I'm just saying, she's strong. But so there's something off about that in the movie where it's not they're wanting to have their cake and eat it too. It's they're wanting to have this photo op moment, and then they don't really know what to do with it beyond that. And it's like somebody needed to tap them on the shoulder and be like, hey, this scene right here where you got like Thor being awesome, throwing down lightning and stuff. Let's just take this 20 seconds right here, and we can insert in, anyone. Insert in Shuri. Insert in Captain Marvel. Go for it. But it's like, okay, we got to get a scene of them looking awesome, but we don't want them to actually do anything. It's just confusing. If you're going to commit. I mean, if you're going to say we've got a future that is awesome for women in Marvel, good for you. But then do it. Then actually put those scenes in play. And that's very weird. So the Avengers, it's a good movie. It'll entertain you. I mean, 3 hours is long, and there's periods in the second act where I'm like, all right, yep, people lost things. I get it. I totally get it. But man, I need to just I want to forward through these scenes, fast forward through them a little bit because I get the loss. And granted, it's kind of a farewell piece to a lot of people. So you want to have those moments, but there was a little too much of the reunion with Tony and Howard Stark. Was one of those where it's like, all right, I'm getting antsy here. We're like 2 hours, 15 minutes into this movie, and we really, we need something. We need something else going on here. There's a couple little things like Loki grabbing the stone again. That was interesting. So does that change the timeline? Is something going to happen there? Thor's joining the Guardians. They're off for search for Gamora. That's interesting. Some things, potentially there. If you can go and grab a Gamora from the past, why not go and it doesn't alter anything, doesn't mess with the timeline. Why not go and grab a Black Widow from the timeline? Why not go and grab a Tony Stark from the timeline? I mean, why not? I mean, you can't say, well, we don't want to mess the timeline because they're messing with the timeline all over the place. So I don't know. I think there's some. Once the villain brought his entire ship and all the warriors and everybody, to the present from the past, I mean, I think, all right, doors open. Let's just fix a bunch of things. I don't know. The only other thing I want to say that I find a little weird, and maybe somebody can explain this. So, 5 years go by, and then the dusted people come back, right? So they all just return. But they missed like 5 years of school. So the end scene of Peter like, hey, I'm back at school, and here are my buddies, and here's Genki, and um, okay, but was he dusted too? So you guys both kind of showed up, and you're like 5 years behind now. Are you want to deal with any of that? I mean, you guys half of the world has lost 5 years, so it's not like it's a hey, everything's back. We're back in school, back to normal. Like you missed 5 years. You got some tests to take. I don't know. A decent movie. I would check it out. I mean, if nothing else, there's been a long. I mean, it's been a series of movies. This has been an arc, and a lot of money, a lot of time, and as a comic fan in the '80s and the '90s and the '70s even, I certainly never thought we'd see this day where you saw such huge crafted movies come out with these characters, and whether you like the Marvel universe or you don't, there's something powerful in here. These properties that we grew up with, that we loved, are major icons of the world, and that's powerful. That's something that I never thought I'd see, and so watching it play out, and Endgame is the end of an era. Now we'll go into, they say, Marvel Studios Phase 4, but I'll bet they don't call it that. It's going to be just a new phase. We're turning the page to a new place, and we're going to see some new movies, and I doubt we will see this success replicated. The movies will do well, and things will be fine, but it's not going to have the weight, the importance. Marvel, Kevin Feige, they pulled off something amazing here. Even if you don't like the movies, you have to honor the accomplishment, which was we took these comic properties that in many cases were just kind of shuffled down to geeks, and they are iconic. This is a moment in history of these films kind of coming together to be a big deal, and that's a worthy accomplishment, a very worthy accomplishment. Maybe Kevin should pick up Thor's hammer. I don't know. So there you go. You watched the movie. What did you think? Love to hear your opinions in the comments. What do you think about all this? Please subscribe, notify, tell a friend. Long, busy day, a lot to think about. Thanks for listening.